Hi everybody. So today I'm going to do a review of the Teen Life Application Study Bible. This one is done by Tyndale. Does come in just a sleeve because it is just a hardcover. Here is some information about this Bible if you would like to pause and read that. Here's our ISBN number. It does retail for $27.99, but you can pick it up for less online. And as always, I will have a link in the description box. This one here is a hardcover, so it does have a nice dust jacket. One thing that's kind of neat on that is the way that they did the print on this. If it was to bleed through and come through on the other side and be reversed, that's what it looks like. So I think that is something that would probably be attractive to teens because it kind of is eye-catching, plus the way that the font and everything is done. I think that would be eye-catching as well. So if we take off the dust jacket, we can see that the cover is going to be exactly the same, just like that. So the Teen Life Application Study Bible by Tyndale. So this one is going to be in the New Living Translation. This one is 8.5 inches tall by 5 3/4 inches wide, and it is 1 5/8 inches thick. So I've just got plain white page edges. Got nice head and tail bands. This one does have a sewn binding. Not all of Tyndale's Bibles do, but this one actually does. So we will see some evidence of the sewn binding when we get into it. So we're going to have just a presentation page that's just simply to and from and then on for you to put the date or the event, whatever you're doing. We're going to have our copyright page, and we're going to get into our contents. So it's going to have, of course, all the books of the Old and the New Testament, a user's guide and everything. And a lot of the pictures and the colors and stuff that they use in this, which is mainly just black and white, I think it would definitely be attractive to teens. I think they would probably like that. So it's going to have a user's guide. It's going to say what you can expect. So there's going to be some life choices indexes, indexes for choices, I wonder, ultimate issues, charts, personality profiles, maps, and my stories. We're also going to have a where to find it. It's going to have an explanation of the features, which are going to include book introductions, life application notes, personality profiles. We've got a section titled Choices, which are articles that show teens in real-world situations that you have faced or maybe that you will face. So those are going to be helpful for teens. We're going to have maps, charts, key verses, this My Story section. So on this one here, it says everyone has a story, but sometimes it's hard to see how our stories connect to the Bible. This Bible includes stories from real teens who are doing their best to follow God in the real world. Their names have been changed, but their situations are real. So that's going to be helpful for teens because they'll be able to read about other teens who are facing the same issues. We've also got ones that are titled Ultimate Issues. Like sometimes we think that things are important and they're actually really minor. And then we've got this I wonder section, like is there a sin that God cannot forgive? Why should I go to church? Does God get tired of hearing about my problems? And so forth. So all of these different things that are going to be in this are going to be really relevant for teens, and I think they'll find it very helpful. This is going to have a look at the book. So there's going to be the introduction, and then this talks about the reading plan and how this plan is going to be different. So what it's going to have on there, it's going to give you a flavor of the whole Bible by reading selections from it throughout a year. You'll read the best known stories and many important lessons. Some parts of the Bible offer so much help that they can be read every day. Among these are the Gospels, Psalms, and Proverbs. Then it talks about before you begin. And then it's going to give you all the different chapters as far as what to read. So they would probably definitely want to bookmark these front pages unless they just wanted to do a complete read through, but a lot of times if it's their first time, they may not want to do a complete read through of the Bible. I think sometimes it might be all we can do to get younger people or people in general to even want to read their Bible. So that gives you several pages of that. Then we've got a section that is titled Finding Faith. So making your faith your own. And then it's going to talk about sharing your faith with others. And then help for new believers. But all the way that they do these different pages, I mean, that to me I think is going to be something that's going to look good to teens with the different fonts and the different type of lettering and kind of the black and white and just kind of the way that it looks cool, basically. So these are the 14 different encounters with God, as far as there's assurance, God our Father, growth, prayer, Bible, and it goes through all 14 of those. We've got a note to the readers, introduction to the New Living Translation, and then we get into the Old Testament. Again, just neat looking page with the black and white and kind of that neat design. Then it's going to have the introduction, so it's going to talk about Genesis. On the side, it's going to have the stats, which will include the purpose, author, original audience, date written, setting, key people. It'll also have a timeline, and then it's going to have the key points. There's going to be the key places, so it's going to give a map and then all of the different places on there. So I like the way that they did that. And then we get right into Genesis 1:1. This one here on the notes and the font, online it says 7-point and 6-point, but if you compare it to just like the Bible font chart that you can find online, and each font style is going to be a little bit different height, but it appears more to be like an 8 and a 7 if you compare it to that chart. So it's not as small as what you would think if you were to read the specs online. So we've got a 2-column format, as we can see there. And then we're going to have some of our notes that are going to be down on this bottom right. So that one's going to be titled True Worth. As we get down to the next page, there's going to be one of our articles on ultimate issues, the origin of humanity. We've got a little timeline on the days of creation, some information about marriage. We're going to have one of the I Wonder articles, some of the personality profiles. So a lot of these pages, there's almost something on every page. So we've got another personality profile. This one talks about Satan's plan, as far as like what people might call the 5 Ds, as far as doubt, discouragement, diversion, defeat, and delay. We get one of our My Story sections, written by, looks like probably a girl by the name of Tynesha, from looking at the name. But there's stuff dang near on every page aside from just the biblical text. Like here's a topic on why worry, another personality profile. This is one of the choices articles. This one talks about violence. So just really relevant stuff for teens and just basically the world that we're living in nowadays. And I think younger people face a lot more difficult things than what those of us that are older faced when we were younger, just because the way that the world has changed. So black and white throughout this whole Bible. There's going to be a lot of maps throughout this one, and just the way that they have the font and just the black and white, I think looks really neat in there. Here's an example of one of the maps. This one happens to be in the book of Joshua. But I think just like even just this along the bottom, which just looks like sections of a building, that's just stuff that's going to be kind of eye-catching to teens. There's God or idols. So talking about idols were as far as God is. Like we can see there, idols were tangible, where God is intangible because there's no physical form. Talks about that, and like worshiping idols involved, and then worshiping God involves. So this is pretty neat. So that'll kind of help put things into the right context for them. We've got a chart here that talks about how God works in the world. I think that one's a pretty cool one because it talks about God's action. We've got some examples, like it'll talk about the natural order, and then miracles and providence. Once we get into the very back of the Bible, we're going to get into our life choices index. So these are going to be the different selected passages, and it's going to give them, like here we've got abilities, like a misuse of strength. It's going to tell them the book, chapter, and verses, the page numbers, that sort of thing. It talks about addiction, and it'll tell them to see alcohol and drugs. So a lot of relevant stuff that will make sense to them, because they're not going to think that the Bible is going to be relevant to them until they actually dig into it. And then we've got our features index. So again, a lot of things that we deal with and that we're seeing a lot right now. One of the big ones right here is abortion. Tons about abortion going on right now in the world. Then we've got our I Wonder section as far as the different articles. So that's going to be a good page on that. We've got the section for the ultimate issues, and it gives you all of the articles there. And again, a lot of relevant stuff as far as like suicide, sexual abuse, different things that is really relevant this day and age. Again, talks about abortion, AIDS, just different things. We've got an index to all of our charts. So quite a few charts. We've got an index to all of the personality profiles, all of the maps, all of the My Story articles. Then we've got a Where to Find It section. So this is going to tell them like all of the key stories in the Bible and where to find them. So sometimes it might be good for them to kind of maybe start with some of the more interesting stories that they may want to look at, because it might pique their interest. We've got the teaching parables, the gospel parables, parables of judgment in the future, Jesus's miracles, and they're all broken down. And then we're going to get into our maps. So we've got full color maps. They are done on a glossy paper, as you can see the glare there. And here we can actually see some of the evidence of our sewn binding, so we can see the stitching there in the gutter. So hopefully this Bible would last them at least throughout their teen years. And then we just get to the end of the Bible. But I think that would be a great Bible for teens. It's well made. The topics that are within it, I think, are very relevant for teens for today's day and age. And so if you do have a teen, I would definitely recommend getting them one of these. It might be helpful to them, and maybe some of these different articles that they could read might be things that they're maybe thinking about and concerned about, but they might be too embarrassed and shy to talk to anybody about it. So I think that would be very helpful. Again, this is the Teen Life Application Study Bible. This one is done by Tyndale. It does have a nice dust jacket. They also have different cover options. This one comes in the sleeve. There again is the ISBN number. Retails for $27.99, but as always, I will put a link in the description box. And I would like to thank Tyndale for sending out this copy for review. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day.